Hi guys, Billy back, and this time we're going to be looking at the Iron Man Mark 7 figure by ZD Toys. Now this is a 1/10 scale figure, and quickly looking at the box you can see they've got a picture of the Mark 7 just on the right here. In the background you can see it's got a nice reflective red details with a little bit of a close-up picture of the Iron Man Mark 7 there. We've got the Avengers logo here, we've got the Mark 7 right in there, and we've also got the arc reactor from the Mark 7 here. Now on the side you can see again it's got that lovely metallic finish. We've got a picture of the Mark 7 there. We've also got the official Disney logo because this is an officially licensed figure. Then on the back we've got promo pictures of the figure there. Another full shot of the figure here. Lots of Chinese writing that I can't read. ZD Toys logo with the QR code here, barcode, blah blah blah. Then on the side here we've got the Mark 7 with another picture of the figure here. Nothing up the top, nothing at the bottom. Okay, let's open this up and have a look what we get inside. We can see that there is a sort of display card in the front, and it's a picture of the Iron Man Mark 7. It's also magnetized, so once you close these over they magnetize shut. It's a really solid packaging, very firm corners, very nicely designed, and it feels a lot more premium than what it actually is. This has been created by ZD Toys, who are primarily a kids toy company, but they've obviously aimed this squarely at the adult market, which is great because they are fantastic looking figures, and the packaging adds to the premium feel. Okay, it's got a tab on the side here, so if you pull this away, then on the back of the pull-out you can see there's got instructions on how to put the stand together, and then inside you can see we've got the figure here. If we take this out, just behind it there are two layers, and here is the section with all the accessories in. Okay, let's open this guy up and see exactly what he's like out of the box. Man, I've really been looking forward to these figures. I've got the Marks 2 to 6 already, and I've got the Hall of Armors, so this is going to be the 6th figure released in this line, and I'm genuinely looking forward to when they do the Mark 1. It has been teased, but there's been no official final promo pics of it, so pre-orders haven't gone up or anything, so I hope that happens very very soon. Okay, and here he is just straight out of the box, and you can see that he stands perfectly straight with not much fussing at all. He is quite a sturdy figure. These have been designed really well by ZD Toys, and they're one of those figures that if you're not much of a poser or anything, you just want them standing in a museum pose, they're actually very stable and they actually stand up very well on their own. However, we will have a look at the accessories first. He comes with this stand, and you can see it's got the Avengers logo on the front there with the Mark 7 writing. This is part and parcel of every ZD Toys Iron Man figure that they've brought out so far, from the Mark 2 to the Mark 7 now. And you can see he comes with this sort of stem design that goes left and right or forward and back here. It's got another movable arm piece just up here. This can move around, you can turn it any which way you want, and you can actually add two different attachments to it. You can add the crotch grabber, just like this. He also comes with a waist grabber, but you can take off the arms of this waist grabber and just stick them on here and have the best of both worlds if you so wish. He also comes with blast effects, and these are really nice. But these are the same blast effects that every single figure in this range has come with so far. From the Mark II to the Mark 7, they're exactly the same. They've got a really nice sort of yellow tip on the end here, and then it moves off into the base here with a nice bright orange just at the bottom here. So my only criticism with these blast effects is that they're all the same and there is no variation. It would have been nice to have a couple more, but they all have ports at the bottom here, and they can go into the bottom of the feet just here like that, or they can be parted into the palms of some of these hands just like that for repulsor effects. Now there are two different variations of hand, some with the portholes in and the rest of them come with a painted repulsor just in there, and you can see that the details in here are very nice. There's no sort of sloppy paintwork, which is really impressive at this scale. It's very clean, very very nice, and it has that lovely metallic cherry red that you would expect from an Iron Man figure. Plus it has all the lovely panel lining in there as well. Okay, and just having a look at the figure himself, we can see there's some absolutely gorgeous paintwork in here. The paintwork in this is almost the equivalent of an SH Figure Arts or a Figma figure, which is like 3 to 4 times the price of this one. And you can see all the details, all the golds and the reds, they don't mix together, there's no bleed off. Very clean lines. You see all the sculpting inside that chest area is really good. The shoulder armor is great. Oh, I think there's a tiny bit of bleed off there from the silver. Oh, That's actually a flaw, and that's surprising because so far I haven't really found any flaws in these ZD toys. So it's actually quite interesting to see a slight tiny bit of silver bled off into the red just here. And I think the Hot Toys came with 2 different variants of this thigh armor, but obviously they've gone with the normal silver one for this. You never know, they could release a second one, maybe a Toy Fair exclusive if they ever get as cocky as Hot Toys. But then you can see all that lovely panel lining going all the way through on the backs of the joints there, and the details in the feet. We can see there's also details in the arc reactor, however it doesn't light up. And again, the same with the eyes, do not light up in this version. So it might have been nice to sort of get some sort of like white behind the eyes. As we can see, if we compare the Mark IV eyes to the Mark VII, you can see there's a little bit of white behind the eyes of the Mark IV, which actually give it a little bit more life. There's not much white in the chest arc reactor itself, but there was some silver in there anyway, which isn't present in this version. We can also see there's some nice silver little accents in the elbows. Articulation wise, he can look up about that much, he can look down about that much, he can turn 360, and there is a tiny bit of pivot but not a lot. And coming down, there is no lower neck articulation, it's basically just that head on a ball joint. And coming down into the arms, we can see that the arm can go full 360 all the way around. It can go up just below 90 degrees, but if you pull the arm joint out, it can do 90 degrees roughly. Whoops, luckily it just pops back in again. Okay, and then we can see he does have full 360 bicep swivel. There is a double joint in the arms to get more than 90 degree bend, and the hands are on a ball joint here so they can do a full 360 and they can pivot in and out just a little bit. Torso articulation, he can turn left and right, and he can bend forward about that much, bend back about that much, but if you pull the joint upwards, he can do a lot more turning left and right. He can tilt left and right as well. There is a lot more of a forward and back motion, so that middle joint is very handy. However, it does put a really ugly gap just in there if you lean it back too much. There is no lower torso or hip articulation, so it just comes straight down into the legs. The leg can go forward about that much, go back about that much. However, there is a drop down hip, so you can pull it out and you can go forward about that much. And then it does have thigh swivel, so then you can turn the leg out this much here and it can go up even further. And then there is a double joint in the knees here, goes about 90 degrees, and then the foot is on a ball joint and it can pivot left and right and forward and back a reasonable amount, and you can do the splits about that much. If you wanted to, you could get him sitting cross-legged like that. Gives me flashbacks to, you know, school assembly. Ugh. And the shoulders do have some articulation, and he can do the ground pound pose to a reasonable level, which looks okay. And if we have a good gawk at his flaps, we can see that they go straight up. However, there is no painted pieces just underneath. There's no detail other than the rest of the armor in a sort of cherry red underneath there as well. If we were to actually go in for another layer of detail, these flaps would have had to have come up as well. Unfortunately, this figure didn't do that. They only kept these top flaps articulated, which is a shame. I would have liked to have seen them up their game a little bit and then just give us a couple more hinged flaps just on the back here so you could get all four lifted. But it's not such a big deal considering the price point. And here he is with just both blast effects on his hands, and he looks pretty awesome. I've got him in a semi-action pose and I think it looks great. Now, this is a lot of people's favourite suit, and I think there were many people who were waiting to see if ZD Toys were going to make this before they jumped in on the line. And honestly, I have to say, you probably should be jumping in on this now because they are fantastic. And now that they've brought out the Mark II to Mark VII, it's not going to be long before we see the Mark I for sure. However, that's probably going to be a bit more difficult to do. It's a bit of a bulky armor, it's a bit bigger, it's probably more detailed, and they're probably trying to do the best they can with the paint applications before they actually put it up for pre-order. And it's going to be a little tougher than all the rest of these just because the intricate detail in the paintwork that's going to have to be done to really do that figure justice. However, let's just have a look at him next to some of the other figures in the line. This is him next to the Mark II. This is him next to the Mark III light up version. Here he is next to the Mark IV. And here he is next to the Mark V. And here he is next to the Mark VI. And because people ask me all the time, he is just under 7 inches tall, or just under 18 centimeters. And just for comparison, here he is next to the Figma Iron Man Mark 7 and the Comic Cave Diecast 1/12 scale Mark 7. It's safe to say he is most definitely a different scale. And here he is next to a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And here he is next to a Marvel Legends Iron Man Mark 85 figure. The sheer quality of the paintwork on this guy, mixed with the sculpting, mixed with the proportions, mixed with the quality for the price point, is just unrivaled. These are definitely worth picking up if you are an Iron Man collector. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you do me a favour now, if you can get out of my cave, I'm going to go put this guy in the Hall of Armour and it's going to look fantastic, and I really now can't wait to finish off the collection with the Mark 1. Please do not let me down, ZD Toys. Bye bye guys.